Hello BookTube! So today I'm going to, well, I wasn't going to film anything today because I was feeling lazy. But then I thought, hey, maybe it's still January. I'm putting off doing my War and Peace read-alongs. Why not film the New Year, New Books tag? Because I was watching Simon from Savage Reads, who I really like to watch. I was watching him and he did it and said, anyone who's watching it, give it a go. And that's as good as being tagged, right? So here we go. Okay, so the first question, so the first read of 2018, well, the first book I read was Shadow and Bone, and we all know how that turned out. If you don't, I'll link my reviews below. I've read the whole trilogy this year. I've read Magician's Gambit this year, and this was wonderful, but shocker, David Eddings. I've read, for the first time ever, I read The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, aged 13 3/4, and laughed my ass off. I've read the first two, well, I've read The Raven Boys, and I'm halfway through The Dream Thief. Oh, it's so good. Oh, if this one disappoints me, I just think I might give up on the whole genre. So that's what I've read in 2018 so far. Bearing in mind it is 19th of January and I'm on holidays. So, question number 2. Which books you read in 2017 do you want to share with everyone? So, depends on who you are. I'm a big fan of not a general recommendation. I like to know something about the people I'm recommending books to. So for the people who are my oddballs, I would recommend Valis. I listened to it last year as an audiobook, and I rang my mum and went, Mum, did you read this book? Because this seems to be your whole take on spirituality. It was bizarre. She'd never read it. Yeah, I've been recommending that one to a couple of people because I love Philip K. Dick. I have to read some more Philip K. Dick. I haven't read anywhere near enough. To students, depending on who they are, because I'm a teacher, the Mistborn trilogy, just a fantastic introduction to the fantasy genre. Amazing. Or Poison Study, just because it's so good. I've read the first 2. It's brilliant. For my non-fiction readers, and I have a few of them in my family and friends, so I have to read something non-fiction every so often to try and stay in touch with these people. I read, and I've got it in my best of 2017, Down and Out in Paris and London by George Orwell. Just, if you want something that makes you feel, just makes you feel, because this really happened. He was penniless. It was amazing. Yeah, read that one. To new fantasy readers, again, the Belgariad. I just picked up the prequel, which is the Belgarath the Sorcerer book. Oh, look. Secondhand book shopping. To sci-fi readers, if you haven't read Foundation by Isaac Asimov, I read the first 2 last year. I've also read Caves of Steel and I, Robot. I didn't like I, Robot so much. Caves of Steel was, I actually felt claustrophobic reading it. But Foundation and Foundation and Empire, loved it. Recommending books makes me puffed. Question number 3, what is your reading goal for this year? As per last year, and I made it, I've set my reading goal at 100 books. I I set up my personal calendar so that I can mark it off I set it as a book every 3 days. Sometimes I struggle with it, but I've got holidays where I can get a little bit ahead, so that works for me. My other reading goal for this year is to read as many of the Aurealis Sci-Fi Awards. Now, the Aurealis Sci-Fi Awards are Australian authors only, and I'm trying to read more Australian authors in all of my reading. Question number 4, which new author, book or genre would you like to try this year? So I've just said the Aurealis Awards. I'm probably saying that wrong. And I've just discovered that the books that I've seen a lot of people talking about recently, the Leviathan Wakes by Corey, I think is the surname. They are that TV series. I've watched the whole first season of, and it's called something. I'll put it down the bottom. And I loved, I'm terrible with names. I loved the TV series, and I was just watching another YouTuber, Australian YouTuber, and she went, oh yeah, it's this book and this series. So yeah, I really want to read them now, because that TV series, and don't take the fact that I can't remember the name as a mark against it, because I can't remember anything or anyone's names most of the time. So I'd like to try those two and verge more into space operas, because that one's a space opera. So question number 5, which reading habit would you like to change? I'm not saying less of anything, I'm saying more. It's a thing from my teaching. You don't say the bad things, you say the good things. You put it in a positive spin. So I want more sci-fi. I want more classic fantasy. I've got so much of it and I haven't read it. And more Aussies on my reading list. Question number 6. Now this one was difficult for me because I'm not a big, hey, there's a book coming out. I did it last year for Samantha Shannon's book from the Bone season. I knew that was coming out, but that was coming out on my birthday. So so my most anticipated, if it can be called anticipated, will be the 3rd book in the Illuminae files by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, which is, and I'm gonna make this terrible, Obsidio. And supposedly the 7th and final book of The Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas is coming out, and whenever we get the next book in The Song of Ice and Fire, that'd be great, George. So that's it for now, and I will be hopefully recording some of my War and Peace read along soon. It's all written, I'm just being slack. So next time, if you want to ask me any questions, do so below. Hit us up with a like, get subscribed. Thank you very much.